Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Azakai here, bringing to you the the CBL Global. So we're gonna have the Western and Eastern champions fight off for the title of Global Champion, and probably best, best team of well, yeah, gonna call for the Global Champion. I think it's just called the Global Champion. And those are our JX from the Eastern Champions and YB from the Western Champions. I don't actually know what the full name for these teams are, but I'm pretty sure that people will be trying to tell me what they are. I do think it's very unfortunate. I think today we got an issue with how things are going, and I will be mirroring the official, yeah, the official broadcast from Conqueror's Blade devs, I believe. I think. Hang on, let me just do check. Yeah. So there's a issue with the client from my side, so I'm not sure how to rectify that, and we haven't given instructions about that. But nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoy the stream. This is going to be the 17th day of the CBL, and we will hopefully get to see an awesome match between the champions of East and the champions of the West. So, who is going to become the champions of the world between JX and YB? Honestly, I've only seen JX in battle. YB, I haven't had the luxury of watching a lot of the CBLs from the Americas and EU. So, if you guys can tell me the if you can tell me who YB is and their story, that would be amazing. And obviously, it would be great if I could hear some more about JX for anyone that's watching from the China that knows anything about the Chinese side. So we are waiting on the battle to start right now. So I'll go through the pick ban and my thoughts about them. So we have JX rolling a 4 with YB rolling a 2. So JX bans first. Bans out Heilong Fjord. Interesting pick. YB bans Kirk Castle. Now, the picks are super interesting. Daisuo for JX and Augolia for YB. Augolia is a huge map. There are very particular choke points early on, but once you get to that final base point, I do not believe you're going to have a very fun time. And it is super important that it's not going to be maps that I've seen in the CBL. I know some people on the Americas and the European sides have chosen Daisuo to attack Daisuo. I've never seen anyone choose Augolia to attack. Mind you, YB is choosing Augolia to attack. So, interesting picks for maps, for sure. 100%. Not what I would expect coming into the global in particular. I mean, Kuruk Castle, Heilong Fjord, Hidden City, like White Elk Fort. Those are the maps that I'm quite used to, and especially Heilong Fjord as well. Like you basically like every other map besides these two. So moving on to the pick ban for the units, or the ban picks anyway. We have bans on the Companion Cavalry and the Wu Wei Mansion Guards for JX. Safe picks the Matalator, or the Falconetti Gunners. Still haven't updated that name yet. The Lancelot Knight ban, not particularly unexpected, but in context. YB bans out Iron Reapers, Silidars, safe picks the Sunward's Phalanx, and bans out the Shenji Grenadiers. Interesting setup right now. The Sunward Phalanx are going to be the infantry pick. You would never pick the Zweihanders, Shield Maidens, Varangian Guards. Zweihanders, Shield Maidens, Varangian Guards. Is that it? Wow, I feel like there were more. Maybe I'm forgetting a few. But in this meta, I would not pick those three. You can't pick any of the cavalry. Well, not pick any of the cavalry. The Sunward's Phalanx are the best infantry in context right now because you canceled out most of the other good infantry. So how are you going to deal with the Sunward's Phalanx here with it being open and stuff? It's going to be very difficult. Very difficult. Do not think I do not think either side are going to have a fun time dealing with each other's phalanx. I do believe that mass phalanx is still not entirely viable in a team context. Sunward, the Sunward phalanx are very powerful indeed. The number of units that can go toe to toe with it, very few. So it could be a case where it goes a little bit slower. They'll probably use Zycilian Militia. Zycilian Militia will be a very good counter pick for Sunward's Phalanx, and we'll have to see how many we're going to get to see, because I'm not sure about you. When I see this setup, I'm thinking, what's up? What am I going to do against probably you could probably see up to words of 15 Sunward's Phalanx, because as long as these guys are on the field as well, cavalry is going to be at a minimal. You're going to see absolutely no cavalry out on the field as long as the Sunward's Phalanx is out. Oh, Medaus. I totally forgot about the Medaus. Daiso Fort's going to be really bad for Phalanx. It's a really big open map, and I think ranged units are going to go golden here with being a super with going to be a super reliable pick here. Gonna see if they do pull out a lot more range in order to deal with the Sunward's Phalanx. They're not particularly effective. Well, they don't last very long under heavy range fire. But we are on. Hello? There we go. Nope, not that one. Wrong one. There we go. So this is well, I am mirroring it, so hopefully, well, not at terrible quality here. Sorry about that. Oh, ASAP's coming out like crazy right now. Still quite a few cavalry, but not as many. We also have the halberdiers for both sides, Imperial Pikes as well. I'm interested to see that the Sunward Phalanx did not go 15. In fact, we have a very low number, 4 for JX, 3 for YB. We'll probably see these guys last until the end. Their longer range also offers very much high protection. YB also bringing in the Zwanxia heavy cavalry. Still, I'm very much hoping to see what both teams are going to offer. But here is the first attack with JX attacking on Daiso. So these two teams are battling out on one of the servers. I'm not sure if it's an in-between server or I think the rules for it was that they switch. They switch at some point. So I believe the first two matches will be played on JX side. So JX should have some kind of ping advantage. Not sure if that matters too much when most of this will come down to the unit control, but even unit control should be fairly important as well. People will go for old, reliable when they can't rely on micromanagement. A big commitment from JB, placing down 12 artillery. They've gone all out on the culverins here. I'm wondering what they're shooting. Could be, well, siege towers look to be healthy. I think they might be going for the trebs here. How they're set up, I think they could be going for a wall hold here. I don't see Daisuo much, but these siege towers are about to make it, and I don't think that the trebs have seen better days. There's plenty of trebs still left. That's the problem. I don't think they were successful in shooting down the trebs, and it's going to be super deadly if they stay around. They might actually be retreating as we speak, or moving towards this left-hand supply point. I mean, left-hand siege tower. Going out through the front gate as well. We got a couple of Zwanji heavy cavalry dodging the Sunwoods and the Phalanx there on, sorry, the Halberdiers and the Sunwoods Phalanx there on the left-hand side. Gets ran over by the Imperial the Imperial Pike Guards advance. Big treb onto the siege tower as they force their way down. YB's doing super aggressive, heavy losses, like crazy. We're looking at almost 200 losses for YB's right out the gate. About 100 losses for JX and mounting, but I think JX here is in the lead, if only just slightly. I think they haven't full committed yet, but a couple of their leftovers are getting ran down right now. We're looking at the gap kind of closing, but it at least is not widening. That's what you don't want to see. A lot of units have probably been pushed to ineffectiveness as a retreat comes out from YB. YB pulling back. A point is getting captured, and we're off to a okay start. A couple of the units getting ran down right now. That counterattack was savage, but at the same time extraordinarily costly. As we can see here, the 5 to 4 star units. JX is ahead by 120. Well, almost 120. That's more like 110. Lots of artillery has been used from YB, trying to get those trebs down, but the siege towers came way too fast. They didn't have enough time, or JX noticed and used the trebs as fast as they possibly could. We still have 6 trebs left. We're gonna be seeing big problems now if JX got some good old range, but I think they're gonna compensate with artillery. And I honestly think YB is gonna be in for a sore pounding. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 artillery is going to be deployed here. And more. That's 8 artillery has been placed down, and more to come. Trebs comes through. Not sure if it hit any. But YB does perform yet another retreat all the way back into the final point. Probably one of parts of the maps where cavalry is the best here coming into the final point. This is going to be very interesting to see the onslaught of both, like the distance, first of all, for Trebs is super long. Interestingly enough, YB actually goes for the defense on C. Unfortunately, Murmialones are not particularly easy to kill. And even now, more Trebs, more artillery being used as more and more of the map being claimed for JX. YB gonna have to make a stand at some point, and they're giving lots of time, so much time. B's about to be captured, and that's gonna be a good old 14 minutes at the final point, almost 14 minutes, 13:40 seconds on the final point, and they want to fight this. They've got a Falconetti gunner shooting up onto this hill. Though I think it was mostly destroyed. We got Imperial Pike March about to turn the corner. We got Zyklene Militia coming out from some Sparkies, in fact. Daggerak Lancer is going to take a turn, and we have the good old Siphonati trying to get on top of those Siphonari. That short sword's about to die. Does, but the Siphonarians have mostly been killed off. YB picks up a huge advantage as they push all the way more forward. The rest of JX comes up behind, but I do not think they're going to be able to finish off the remainder. Also, they screwed up the charge here. Onimusha heads out the wrong direction, gets poked out instantly by that Ares Flurry. Very, very good pickup for YB. JX is on the run right now, looking to reform. Gonna be super dangerous for JX here. Not a good push. I'm not sure if the Zyklene Militia was for JX's side or the YB side, but it does look like something was happening on the front line, and it definitely went in the favor of YB because they dragged back that deficit almost to an equal. In fact, I think YB would be up slightly. YB is not one to sit back, going for on the aggression. Fighting uphill. YB coming up. Sends in the human. Here comes the humans and the Sparkies right into the center of that formation, but straight death into the points of pikes. Fighting uphill is never great. Fighting downhill is never great, but it does look like JX is on the winning side. Pushes straight down, crumbles YB into the dust. This is a terrible scenario with most of the heroes dead, 4 alive, and most of the infantry winning for JX here. Only about 150 losses in that fight, but over 400 losses for YB. We're going to push on straight onto the base point and finish the match. There is very few units left for YB, and I highly doubt they're going to pull out a dozen or so cavalry units to even try. And we have the first match, JX taking the attack. Very, very back and forth there. YB puts up an amazing fight there in the second half as well. Pulling a good old retreat. When you're getting hit by a lot of artillery, you should always retreat. Given space, when you're given the option, don't tank what you don't need to. But I definitely think that YB needs to be careful about what fights they choose to do. I mean, where to fight. They ran into Trebs, they've got hit by artillery, and definitely not catching JX completely off guard. JX is one to know when they're being attacked by the looks of it. Their speed on using the treb, their speed on using the artillery, super committed, super fast, and super effective. Comes out in a timely manner. I think the I think YB being overly aggressive in this scenario led them to kind of have a little bit of a deficit, kind of. And looking at the scoreboard, actually, um, YB actually came out on top in the beginning, but I that was only slightly, only by a couple of 20 or I think that's like it's either 20 or 40 odd units. The second battle, they they closed, and in the last one, they just lost it all. Uh, Greater than a 2-1 by the looks of it. Pretty brutal loss there at the final finish. I do think the terrain is a big problem that goes understated a lot. Whether or not you think that going downhill is better or going uphill is better, I honestly cannot tell sometimes. I've lost going uphill, I've lost going downhill, especially for polearm units. Polearm units just really, really suck when it comes to using their range on an incline. Phalanx, oh man, that's going to be even worse for them. The reason being is that they have a dead zone. I don't think this occurs when they use Ari's Flurry, but that doesn't really matter too much, considering you don't want them to be face first into the enemy. You definitely want their pikes to hit the enemy first, not their face. And I'm really uncertain about whether or not you would want to try to fight an incline, especially when you. Oh man. YB took the fight after clearing the incline, which is important here. I'm not sure what important units, but I did see the Siphonaries hit the front there. So it's just I'm wondering what exactly occurred that caused YB to lose so heavily. It, it honestly just probably boils down to the fact that YB was attacking into a brace formation, and that's not a really good idea. You never want to take a brace from the front at all. Like it's almost futile in a lot of cases, especially when you're facing against units that have stun on brace. Both the Halberdier Sergeants and the Sunwoods Phalanx have stun on brace, and trust me when I say I've lost high tier units because they don't have days. I've lost the worst exchange I've ever seen or have ever done is when I lost Silidars to Village Watchmen. Not even Pike Militia, because Pike Militia, low key, super amazing back in the day. I lost Silidars to Village Watchmen. They had stun on brace, and I had to watch because I died to the hero. I had to watch my Silidars die to Village Watchmen. Just agonizingly slow as well. But this was a long time ago. I think Silidars are a little bit stronger and probably would be able to get through the stun on brace through they'll get through the Village Watchmen through sheer stats and they have a little bit of immunity, but it's not perfect like the Iron Reapers. Still, very surprised to see that the Phalanx again still coming out on top, But after every single unit has already gone in, you need to play the pace. Why would you bring out a phalanx unit when you're using it as a clutch? You're not using it as support, you're using it as a clutch. It's so confusing. You have this entire setup to be an aggressive play, but you bring out something as slow as Phalanx. Phalanx is not going to get to the front line. It's going to get... By the time it gets to the front line, everything is dead. Either all your units are dead by the time they get to the front, or the enemy has already killed your units and are going to kill the Phalanx or fail to kill the Phalanx. So why wouldn't you use the Phalanx first and support your Phalanx if you were going to die anyway? And if you were going to win, why wouldn't you just win harder with faster units? I mean, in hindsight, that's what I feel. Alrighty, on to the next battle. Switching over to YB attacking. And honestly, I'm not confident that whoa, what the hell happened here? I'm not confident that we're gonna see YB pull out a victory here, considering their aggression play has already been seen by JX, and JX has probably got their tempo down now. They're probably going to get ready for counterattacks, and the counterattacks are going to hit hard. So if they don't win a straight up fight, it's not going to be a great experience for JB. I mean, for YB. Alrighty, starting off. Pretty similar setups from before, and I mean, like, I did not catch any of the differences. Ugh, God, a recording of a recording is always a little bit messy, especially when they're moving. Straight away takes heavy damage. Each of these siege towers getting shot. I think they're gonna go for destruction on the siege towers. We got a super heavy we got a super heavy advantage for YB here, just from default. Unit selection wise, I think that was over 200. I didn't catch that completely, but you could correct me later. Nice to see ASAPs out on the field. Whether or not they're effective or not is another question. Alright, it wasn't exactly 200, but it does look like it's about 120 just by default. Most of JX's extra is actually comes in the form of tier 3s and tier 2s. Tier 2s should not be underestimated though. You got the good old Rattan Vipers, sorry, Rattan Pikemen and the Rattan Round Shields, which can be super good in the context that higher tier units, especially shields or like those that suffer from low damage from in their default state, are going to really struggle against the Rattan Pikemen and the Rattan Round Shields. I would definitely use Pikemen against the shields. They're cheap as well. The Rattan Round Shields are a little bit expensive for my liking, especially since they're more of a defensive unit. You'd only really use them if you're trying to protect your Rattan pikemen, but in that case, I just bring more Rattan pikemen. Not really much of a point bringing Rattan round shields unless you're getting shot by range, which is actually really unlikely, and which is super surprising. Super surprising. Again, range is non-existent. I expected like one or two, something to kind of space out going through the front gate. Does see that siege towers are not a likely option because they got destroyed earlier and now they're pushing the secondary. Retreat from JX here in from the front gate. They're kind of just pushing all the way through. Halberdiers get ran over as the horde of infantry push on towards the beast. But I'm not sure where you're going. You haven't even captured A yet. 12 artilleries were used to take the wall here. Uh, additional three artillery as well was used. I mean, three trebs were used. We got trebs onto the supply point here. Does look like a couple of hits came through. How many it killed? I think it would have killed probably a dozen. Yeah, a couple of losses. Actually, probably not even a dozen. Probably six or seven. Hmm. Dinosaur Forts does seem to be kind of a map where you can give up space quite a bit. Overcommitment of the artilleries there are. Whoa! Was someone outside? I did not think they were fighting. Another cavalry comes down. Iron Cap scouts, indeed. Never underestimate Iron Cap scouts. I still think the Iron Cap scouts are fairly ferocious. Taking a little bit of damage from this little bit of mortar, and looks like the counterfire from fucking Eddie Gunners are actually doing really good work right now. Though they're not hitting like they should. I mean, also, JX has placed down so many mortars right now. They're trying to get down to this through the stairs, but they're just getting smacked like crazy. Alrighty. This stairs is a killer. Trying to do a hard turn, but the Zyklene Militia are doing work, burning up this entire section here. I think there's also a Siphonari here, doing really good work as well. Even though they got a supply point and being suppressed really heavily, I do think that's got a lot of damage come through. Whether or not they can clean it up is another question. Because just now we just lost a huge advantage. Probably about 40, maybe gonna probably push on to 60. Did not catch any of the battle at the B point. Did look like nothing was there. The cap just rolled on through. Hero catches them. Treb doesn't get into this B point very well. The high walls mixed with the corners. Whoa, very tight space, but we got lots of flames. JX looks to have crumbled as they're trying, as now YB pushes on forward. This is what I'm talking about. Patience and range. Force the enemy to fight you, and when you have that range advantage, it comes in huge as YB full forces onto the B point, and it does look amazing as we're probably going to see a victory for YB. JX is piecemealing it in, and we have a 200 odd unit deficit right now for JX. JX walks straight into the Treb. Phalanx gets, the Sunward's Phalanx also gets completely killed off by units and heroes here, but mostly the heroes did the most work. C point gets captured easily. We're moving on to the base point. There's like no question about that, but like lots of time. 10 artillery, 4 trebs. Unit deficit is also the unit deficit is also massive. 449 tier 4s versus your 200 odd. JX is not in a great position. I definitely would not like to be in a position where JX is. They could probably trade. They could probably trade units, and YB would probably still come on top. Taking a fight here on this corner. YB. Whoa. I'm not sure how to feel about this. This is. Did it work? The heavy. No, they just got pulled into a corner here. JX is doing an amazing job, but trickling down. One by one, the heroes die. That corner was super rough. Uh, I mean, wow. Just wow. The 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 Zyklene Militia and the Siphonarians went crazy for JB here. I mean, not JB, YB here. And it is pretty much, it went pretty much in favor of every time YB was defensive and just let their flamers and their ball boys do their stuff, forcing JX to attack or retreat. Like JX would not give up the attack even if it killed them, and it did twice. One time they did succeed suppressing the attack, but they had so much artillery support. I think these artillery support did the bulk of the work, but that B push from YB, that the doorway, the three-way doorway, super rough. I'm not even sure if JX kind of understood what was happening. I'm not sure if JX even understood that their their plan to kind of trap YB in that three-way hallway was a good idea, because they were pushing into that doorway means that they were funneling themselves inside there. Ah, the the wraparound, super interesting as well. Like JX went for the attack and coming out through the corner in the back end. I'm just I was really thinking, like, is that a smart move? They just go straight on the base point. They either hold you on the corner or hold you on the stairs. The stairs is bad for you. The everything just seemed bad. If they hold you on that tight, or if they hold you on that turn, you're screwed. You wouldn't be able to clear the corner. I mean, they did they did quite well. Like, even with weaker units, they kind of traded 1-to-1, but it's just not good enough because you was down so much. Even if you could trade a 1-to-1, it was just not feasible to carry on the victory. And the heroes dying one by one was also really rough. You had to get back to the base point, which is also the annoying thing. So it's not like you could go slow. And YB just played that, played them like a fiddle. Stay where you are. You don't need to be aggressive. You just let them walk into you. You're playing mostly brace units. So let the enemy be idiots and walk right into you. And that's what happened. That's what had to happen. Your formation breaks down. Again, I don't think either of these teams are defensive orientated. They're definitely two super aggressive teams, and they don't like sitting back. For sure. They probably think that sitting back will get them killed. I'm not going to disagree with them. I definitely do think that having the initiative, especially when the enemy team could easily get the initiative on you, you want to be hitting them hard, fast, their make them lose their cohesion as fast as possible, so that units that have synergy together just loses it altogether. Once once the formation breaks down, singular singular units that are all rounder will come out on top. Or again, units that have advantages that lets them be the last one standing. Sunward's Phalanx is that kind of unit. They've got a lot of good things all the way around. They extra long range as well is pretty good. It is quite important that the super long lances is really understated as just like an advantage that just cannot be beat sometimes. And yes, Felix, I have 5 people watching. One of them, I'm pretty sure, is the Twitch recording bot. Um, or myself, because I watch my own stream on the manager. Also, so what? Like, really? If there's drops, there's drops. If there's no drops, there's no drops. You can. I. I don't think anyone in the. I don't. I honestly hope people are here watching the CBL because they want to watch the CBL. I don't. If there's drop, it's just kind of like a nice thing for me. I'm not like a vulture. I actually I commentate for these things even if very few people are watching. I like watching teams fight against each other and I'm super excited to see the differences between Eastern style gameplay versus Western style gameplay. And right now, I'm seeing it kind of shine through just a little bit, but it's just weird because it's like very similar, but it's just paced differently. Well, they announced this CBL match with development roadmap and exclusive content for Season Lionfire. Plus, earn amazing in-game rewards just by tuning in. In-game rewards could literally just be a gift code. I'm 100% sure they're going to give out a gift code, and it's going to be a bunch of treaties. Honestly, since I was casting most of the things, I've missed out on all of the gift codes for these things. Not that I care. It's just how it happens. Well, this is going. One thing that I seriously think I have no clue why is the choice of Augolia. Yeah, for the win. 3 treaties. I'm just upset that we haven't seen units just pop off. We've just seen the phalanx just be the remainder. Phalanxes are not particularly OP, and this is why we see so little of them. I think they increased their phalanx numbers by 1, both sides. So 5. Oh wait, no. YB switched it up. Went for 5 instead of 3. JX is actually still on. Oh wait, no, went to 5 as well. So 3. There are 3 extra phalanxes out for both sides. Why? Okay, I feel like that must be a troll pick because no one would pick Xylioi Slingers. Even as a filler unit, Xylioi Slingers at 90 cost would not be a pick I would ever choose. I mean, whatever you say about Augolia, it's going to be very interesting. Oh, sure. Augolia is going to be very interesting because it's just one of the CBL maps where I've never seen it happen. Like, legitimate battles on Augolia. Like, what is the strategy? I've seen 2 matches, and I'm pretty sure one of them was a gag match, and the other one was a complete stonewalling after the AB cap. The break in the wall was completely stonewalled. Like every time they went through that, they got killed, and that's what I expect could happen. But YB's here is attacking, and it's 1-to-1. I'm I wouldn't be surprised if we go down to a field battle, because I'm hoping it goes down to a field battle because both sides are more aggressive orientated. Like they want to be aggressive. They want to get in on top of the enemy. They want to break down the enemy. They don't play it slow. Siege towers just Siege towers getting melted. They're barely even anywhere. Like 20 seconds in the push and they're almost dead. I mean, the middle one's almost dead. This one apparently hasn't even been damaged yet, but they destroyed the far one, the far left one. The middle right one got taken down. Are those? Wow. So the palace guards were the ones that were pushing that, and they were shooting the palace guards. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that it was palace guards pushing that siege tower. One thing also really interesting with Augolia is how the supply point on the left here, what we're looking at, interacts with spawn points. Whoever has the ownership of that supply point opens up a spawn point on the wall there. Yeah, exactly. A lot of time that's super underestimated when I'm playing that match in sieges. If that gets taken, B point is almost guaranteed loss. And I mean, like you get if you let the enemy get a foothold on the secondary wall, you may as well give up A. Good Treb catches a couple of Demez Spearmen. I mean, Demez Spearman is probably one of the most cost-effective shields in the game, especially effective against ranged units. Not that we're going to see too many of them, and it's going to be special range. I'm pretty sure we're going to see lots of. Again, I'm not sure how effective these Falconetti gunners are being. Cool position. Takes forever to reload. I kid you not. You know how long it's going to take for these guys to reload? To walk all the way to the supply point and all the way back. That's a good 1 minute round trip. The moment that's he's also missing the siege tower. There we go. He'll get that siege tower. There's no way he's not going to. Unless he runs out of ammo. Oh, man. Super rough, but these small tower things are really good to hide behind. Rushing it with a 5-man in Rando Siege is great. Well, the 1 in 7 times it works. 1 in 7 times it works, yeah. Because what could happen and what normally happens is that like your team of 5 go for that back supply point, but the enemy just wiped out your team of 10 that went for the B point and coming back to resupply, so you're just stuck in like a you're stuck on two fronts and they squeeze you and your team doesn't push because they got beaten so hard that they're too afraid to go up when there's literally like two guys just watching the point as you're fighting for your life there at the that supply point delaying the enemy, and by the time your team gets up onto the wall they get destroyed again by the reinforcing units, and it's just like woo. Timing is super important. Oh, and I always love the other scenario where, oh, you take the supply point, they forget about B, kill you, and fall back. It's always hilarious when that happens. Like, there's always that time where I don't care about defending the point. I'm just going to get kills. These suckers are in a really bad position. I'm going to kill these guys and then just fuck off. Now, I did expect it to be kind of uninteresting for the most part. Augolia is a very big map. It's kind of like one of the maps where if they opened it up just a little bit more, you could probably fit a 20v20 or a 25v25. This is kind of one of the maps where multi different battles could be happening. You could be having a battle at A. You could be having a battle at this supply point. You could be having a battle at this B point. And it doesn't feel crowded as well because you could spread out. You could have probably 10 people here at the B point, 10 people versus 10 people, and it feels like there's like still a million units there because there's just so much space. Brutal. The important siege towers here are the far ones. So the far left and the far right siege towers are pretty much some of the better siege towers to go up. These middle ones, I've never actually seen these middle ones really take off or anyone actually use them. There's been a couple of flanks. I mean, the one on the left here is pretty much useless. This is literally this literally just connects to that wall segment, which essentially cuts itself off. But this middle right one, oh, another thing about this middle right one, I've used it before to put archers on top of these and shoot into the A point. Then again, I mean, you could do the exact same thing, but you could have probably javelins and then put javelins where the musket on the right here is, and then just throw javelins over the wall straight into that corner. There's plenty of like ways to abuse this pentagon thing. It's a cool concept. Unfortunately, it's really abusable. Then again, they put the mortars. They gave natural spawn mortars there because Fortibracios was just too difficult to deal with. Because everyone was just like, oh, let's just piecemeal it in. Now, YB really needs to do something because not only have we not gotten any major battles, they're not ready for anything. JX destroys this siege tower one more time. They're not going to have enough time to even kill the enemy. Yeah, this is just a this is just a brutal. This is just like a brutal problem here. At the very least, I think they should have pushed the battering ram. Like, this is hilarious. This setup is amazing. They cannot get onto these Zykelia militia, and that again, that is so cruel. Did you see that? The Murmiolonas just got destroyed. One liquid firebomb, and more than half of those Murmiolonas just got exploded by the Zykelia militia. There is a battle on two front right now, and it is very difficult for YB to push here on the north side. There's whoa, someone's on C inside. They're pushing through the B point. Does look like the Palace Guards are actually very strong in this case. I guess I don't see very much Palace Guards in the CBL because right now they're beating up the phalanxes like, well, they beat up that phalanx, probably overwhelming numbers as well. Reinforcement from JX coming towards this B point, and they're gonna go super hard, trying to just force their way through these halberdiers. These halberdiers are not even fully leveled, or they're not. They have special veterancy or something. Very strange veterancy. We also got some Imperial Spear Guards with some Onimusha. Hey, Onimusha are great. I think Onimusha are underappreciated a lot. And this is what I mean. They're not going to have enough time to clear the enemy. Well, actually, they did. It's just that reinforcements came in time. Fighting a battle on two fronts is also probably not a wise choice. This is going to be a chonky battle. We've got one Imperial Shield out on the front. We have the Zykelim, well, not Zykelim, the Siphonari is just burning down that front line right now. Barely holding on. But look at those muskets go. Black powder bomb after black powder bomb. Slow. Whoa! I cannot see shit. Siphonarians do go down as the Zykelia militia throws in more and more balls. The turn of the tide as they get burned up. We've got cavalry just going straight for it. And another explosion. YB gets killed off on the siege tower. Oh! Just gets smacked. Oh! Cavalry cavalry pushes out. YB did not expect the door to open. You had cavalry right there at the front. What are you doing? Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure that Nodashi was about to kill himself. He kind of flung himself in front of the unit where he would actually start taking damage. Oh yeah, that poor cavalry. It was Zwanji heavy cavalry standing still. You know, Zwanji heavy cavalry is so fast that I don't think there's very many units that can blitz it. Even melee cavalry with their 10 speed, if that Swift of Lightning is on, I honestly cannot see a way to more or less kind of outrun it or catch it. I have literally struggled to 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 catch Zwanji heavy cavalry with the fastest cavalry in the game. Heavy prefecture cavalry with speed boost, with other speed boost, and I still feel slower. Well, I'm either equal speed, I'm pretty sure I'm equal speed, or only slightly faster than Zwanji heavy cavalry. I'm just not fast enough to catch them. But here we go. Another. I don't know why they would want to attack Augolia. Augolia is so Augolia is so brutal. There is only one real siege tower that's important. You need to open up the front gate. The fact that they didn't open up the front gate meant basically told me that YB doesn't know how to attack Augolia. Or, however they practice attacking Augolia, they just didn't meet a team that knew how to defend Augolia. Because that secondary wall it's basically defender bias. Like, that secondary wall is so in favor of defenders that the only way to beat Augolia is to just straight up win a fight. You can't win a fight through logistics, and through macro. You need to straight up just win, and with overwhelming force. You can't win by like a small margin. You need a win-win, because that that second wall break is almost, or if not harder. Well, that's the weird thing. It's not like we don't do Augolia because we don't know. We know Augolia. Everyone should know Augolia. We don't like Augolia because it's just a really terrible map to attack. To specify, to attack. If you're defending and you get down to the if you get down to the base point, yeah, you might as well just let them win because defending that base point is such is such a pain. It's basically Heilong Fjord but worse. I have defended the point before, but it's just everything up until like even the A point is defender bias. A point defender bias, B point defender bias, D point, C point. Base point is the only one where it's just like, yeah, go ahead. Attackers go. Like, it is almost equal, except for the fact that you can come from two directions. If you come from the D side, attackers basically always win. If you go from the C side, it's about a 50-50. That also happens a lot because all of your units has to kind of keep heroes off of this point, which is I think it's like 10 meters in radius. Its diameter is like you could probably fit like 9 whole unit formations on that point, and you still probably wouldn't cover it all. And maybe I'm exaggerating. It's probably closer to 5. Oh, yeah. When they like Angolia is not a short map either. I think the longest. I think they even shortened it. I think some of the original times for Angolia was like 30. Was over 30 minutes. I think right now it's like 24 minutes something. I'm really interested to see if JX gonna have any easier time to take Angolia because I'll be honest, after seeing JX defend it, I think YB should know how to defend it as well. It's it's kind of like a no-brainer scenario where let them put up the siege towers in the middle. The middle siege towers are worthless. They're a non-threat. You know where you can see the enemy coming from a mile away. And since you're in a coordinated team, you can go 1-to-1. They send 2 guys north side, they send 2 guys south side. You send 2 guys north side, you send 2 guys south side. Defenders is always going to have a massive advantage because the attackers are the ones that has to go towards you. And you only have to defend hard points. There's no soft point you need to defend. There's like a dozen or so soft points that you can take. But you don't need to be there. I'm rooting for a 10 stack side supply climb from JX. Can't imagine it working on this level, but would be funny to see. Oh, for sure. Any wall climb would be amazing. I think I had the fortunate opportunity to watch a really interesting wall climb from one of your from one of the western uh, from one of the Western teams. I forget which match it was, but there was a wall climb on. I don't remember which map, but it was crazy. Like they were struggling to get the siege towers up, so they did a wall climb, and they kind of kicked ass. I think it was on Hidden City or something. Oopsie daisy, that was not what I was meant to do. Sorry about the late thing, but yes, we are on the fourth battle, JX attacking. And it's nice to see lots of Zykelia militia, one Siphonati. these units, the Siphonarians and the Zykeela Militia, are again super, super important. We kind of had the weird, weird um, phase where if the meta's too fast, the Siphonarians and the Ball Boys are actually worthless. When Lancelots are on the table, the Flamers and the Ball Boys are actually not that good. When Iron Reapers are on the table, the Flamers and the Ball Boys are actually not that good. What's really surprising is that when you slow down the pace of the game, they are some of the most important units you will notice on the battlefield because of their sheer impact as a whole. And wow, is anyone else seeing that massive ass stutter? That must be because of lag and stuff. Oh yeah, like the funny thing is that you don't need that many. Like 3 Siphonati, 4 Zykeela Militia. Like there are definitely setups where you can use those guys. The problem is that you have a mass of them. What's the point of having a mass of Zykeela Militia when only one attack from these guys are required to set something on fire? So at that point, you're using them for damage, which is really dumb, by the way. Um, instead of for their initial, for their important thing, which is for their frighten effect. They cause mass CC and armors. I mean, your fire resistance ain't going to do shit. Sometimes. But Felix, you know what hurts me the most is watching them explode. Last match in particular, I don't. I pity the person who was controlling those Mummy Learners, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to defend these Zykeelian Militia. These guys are going to be so good. They're going to be our they're going to clutch this battle for us." The the liquid firebomb instantly takes them out. Boom! Your Myrmidolones, most of it's dead. Oh, that's been a mechanic since they've been released. They haven't changed that. It's just that I like I like the fact that we get to see it a bit more. I like the fact that oh man, I will be honest. Back in the day when I was using Daikili Militia a lot, I once got hit by the liquid firebomb, and back in the day it was much harder to kill the Daikili Militia because fire was less prevalent. But I got hit by a liquid firebomb and a Scorpio, and I was inside an Imperial Spearguard unit. It killed the whole unit. Um, yeah, that wasn't fun. That wasn't fun, especially for the guy trying to defend me. I felt so bad after that happened. And so throughout the entire season, I was just watching out for the Siphonaries and the Zykeela Militia, just waiting for them to explode. Every time I knew there was fire on the board, I would stick right away from them. Now, what's super impressive is the sheer mortaring, not to mention all of the siege towers got up onto the wall. B gets taken super easily. I mean, they gave away A. A's not really something you defend often. I'm not even sure if there's a battle that happened, but I think YB took a little bit of damage. I was just talking. So what's going to be super rough now is to get through this secondary wall. First of all, I'm going to say that phalanxes, because of their super lance trait, they can't climb ladders. So phalanx on the wall is super obnoxious to face because you will have no tools to deal with them. But at the same time, because the wall is so small, you can't flank them. Makes it even worse. Now, I'm also going to be honest with you as well. I wasn't even paying attention to what YB was doing with their artillery, but I can obviously tell that they were trying to do something, but it was just ineffective because they only have one artillery left. Where did your artillery go? The artillery advantage for JX right now is so massive that even if battle hasn't engaged just yet, I'm feeling that YB is going to take so much chip damage that by the time they actually do fight, they're just going to straight up lose. And it's amazing some of the shots coming through here. It's like JX knows exactly no, like JX knows exactly where to place their mortars in order to screw over the defending team right now. Yeah, looks like Synthetic from YB just took an L there. So he was first blood. Nothing like a musket on the wall to just act like an artillery. You know, before, well, technically, technically, the lowest cooldown ultimate was the Sally Forth from Longsword, followed by the Musket Bomb, Black Powder Bomb. Very interesting. We got a climb coming through. We got mortars. Where's the trebs? I want to see some trebs, man. Really awkward angle, but whoa, went straight over. That's brutal. Oh man, this is the one time where I'm like, wow, ASAPs would be really good. They get this massive defense buff when they go up ladders, and they got buffed as well. 1v1, ASAPs are super strong. But getting obliterated, got going through the wall break as well, that's going to be a super harsh fight. Going up the wall, didn't work out, though. It could have been better. Surprisingly, I think the shields are breaking through. So realistically, the things that are making it difficult for YB to hold this force is the shield. The shields are the ones that are pushing. So between the Palace Guards, Myrmielonas, and the Imperial Spear Guard, the advantage for JX for that wall break side was super good. And as we can see from the scoreboard, YB is going to be feeling some pain because I think they just lost 3-1 right now. Lose another unit. I'm going to head towards the base point, and I'm going to be honest. The base point is probably the weakest position YB can be in, and after losing well, that would be technically one fight, but on two separate fronts. Imperial Spearguard going in alone? I'm sorry. Where are you going? Gonna walk straight into... This is another thing. You cannot do that. You cannot edge the line on Phalanx. You get stun locked. YB takes another fight. Siphonares, and again, Whoa! Sanji Heavy Cavalry comes in straight through that right hand side, but the line holds, trying to get those Siphonarias taken out, but struggling. Another set cavalry, but Sparky's spawn on top. Zwanji Heavy Cavalry, whoa, chunks. Zwanji Heavy Cavalry just literally face tanks that entire infantry section and just collapses it. But unfortunately, the base point is almost captured, and this Pike is going to see some better days. But he is trying his best as more and more units just more and more heroes just get onto the wall. Now, this there's so much time left and so little units left. As the defenders, you should be picking the heroes. Go for the heroes, kill the heroes. If every single hero from the attacking team dies, you can end this match. But honestly, you still have to contend with probably 4 or 5 units extra. I mean, high tier units extra coming out from JX in the next fight. And you've already lost, technically, 2 fights. I'm not going to say you won that. I'm not going to say you won that other fight because you had to go back to the base point, and now you've. I don't know why you were so aggressive either. You need to defend something. Well, yeah, again, the Trebs, the Artie, yeah, Felix. I'm feeling you with the Trebs and the Artie. You can't sit back, and the problem is that you have to be somewhere so they know exactly where you need to be. We got some cavalry coming up from behind, charging, gets stopped. Good Siphonari straight onto the Phalanx. Phalanx is about to fall. We've got the Nodachi going straight at it for the backline. Asap's coming in. You have to keep touching this point. It's huge, it's massive, but you're getting surrounded right now. And there goes YB. JX takes the fight and wins as 3-1. Becoming our global champion, I believe. So I honestly hoped for a better effort from YB. I'm not sure how I would have done that better. JX's attack was so delicious, by the way, because it was brutal in its efficiency. And honestly, it's like they practiced this map 100 times and they just beat up YB just super easily. It's not even a joke how easily their mortar and artillery placement just pushed YB straight out of their defensive positions. YB needed to win the battles. Because once you start losing on Augolia as well, you just lose completely. It's very hard to claw back any advantages because you have such a big advantage that gets flipped on you. That's also the other interesting thing. JX went full committal in destroying those siege towers, and then YB's. I didn't catch. I mean, I was too busy talking, but YB also just used a lot of their artillery. They used 14 artillery, and by the time they reach, by the time JX takes the B point and reaches the secondary wall, I'm not sure what they were shooting at. Whether or not JX was destroying them with artillery, mortars in particular, or whether or not they were shooting something else. Maybe the Trebs. I mean, that's always just one of the interesting things, that a choice like simply, do we destroy the siege tower, do we destroy the Trebs, could backfire so massively. Or you just waste your artillery on something that doesn't amount to very much advantage. Especially since that destroying all four siege towers is a waste, because there are definitely dead siege towers where you don't need to destroy them because they're very unimportant and no one would ever use them. And if you're forced to use them, you could see the enemy coming from miles away, so you can definitely abuse them. So I'm not. I'm gonna listen very closely to the audio here for a second. Okay, I think they're just chatting about the thing. So I'm just going to wait around and see if we get any more news about the CBL. Otherwise, I'm going to close it up. I know there's a later Dead stream about the upcoming season, and I am on the PTR at the current time, so I'm not sure whether or not I'll stream it uh, or whether or not I will just record a video for it. Yeah, I know, right? No problem. Barnes, I might restart the stream for the PTR. So, so I just want a confirmation that the CBL has ended from the official stream before I head off. Okay, so yes, that's the end of CBL. So, it does look like JX takes the crown. There are global champions. Honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed. Um, they didn't go two for two, so maybe they wanted to keep it short. Again, it, for an event, it's kind of short and sweet. We got to watch what was it, about four battles. Took us about an hour and a half, and I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed with the performance from YB, especially on Augolia. They did pretty good in some circumstances with Daiso Fort, and I definitely wondered what happened with the pushes on the slopes, but definitely good performance. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the CBL, um, enjoyed my commentary for the CBL, watching the AC, the Eastern the Eastern champions and the global champions. Although I didn't commentate or watch the uh, Americas or the European ones, nor the Western champions. And I do think there are other streamers that do stream that and have recordings of it, but nevertheless, I really hope that you guys enjoyed it regardless. Question here, how can we connect Twitch account for drops? Yeah, you just connect it through your Porus account. So basically, you log in, you go to www. Oh, okay. If you are on the APAC site, this is my way of doing it. I log in to the www.conquerorsblade.com website with my Porus account. There is a setting where it says you can link your Twitch account in your inventory and whatnot. You do that, it links, it asks you to log into your Twitch, authorize, blah, blah, blah. It's linked. That's how I do it, and that's what I've done. If you're on the global dot conquerorsblade.com. I'm not in completely sure. I don't have the privilege of making an account on that side and seeing how to do the process on that side. You can only realistically just follow the prompts as best you can. But I mean, for another point, we still haven't gotten Twitch drops for a really long time. So unless that does happen, don't worry about it because I'm pretty sure they make it very simple. When you do get the Twitch drops, they just allow you to press connect, click what server, and then you just log in, link, regardless of that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be opening up the stream in 10 or 15 minutes to stream some of the PTR. So I hope you guys will be there with me. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. My name's Azakai. Have a nice day.